Political causes of 1857 revolution. The political reasons which antagonized the Indian rulers were the following. 1. Policy of expansion. The British policy of territorial expansion and gradual annexation of the native Indian states was one of the major grievances of the Indian rulers. Ever since the Battle of Plassey, June 1757, the East India Company's territorial power increased rapidly. The British tried to expand their political power in India by 4 ways, i.e., by outright wars, by the system of subsidiary alliance, by adopting the Doctrine of Lapse, and on the pretext of alleged misrule. A. By outright wars, to expand their territorial power in India and to safeguard their economic and political interests, the British waged many wars against the Indian rulers of different states. The Battle of Buxar, 1764, established the British as masters of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. As a result of their success in Anglo-Mysore Wars, 1767 to 1799, the East India Company annexed most of the territories of the Mysore state. After the Third Anglo-Maratha War, 1817 to 18, the Peshwa's entire dominions and all Maratha territory north and south of the Narmada River were acquired by the British. The Punjab was annexed in 1849 after the Sikhs were defeated in the Second Anglo-Sikh War. From 1823 to 1856, the British further extended their empire by conquering Sindh, territories of Assam, Arakan and Tenasserim, and Peru in Myanmar. B. By subsidiary alliance. Some Indian states were brought under the British control without actually annexing them. This was done by following the Subsidiary Alliance, introduced by Lord Wellesley. Subsidiary Alliance was an agreement between the British East India Company and the Indian princely states, by virtue of which these states lost their sovereignty, the power of a ruler to rule independently without any outside interference, to the British. Under this system, the Indian rulers, who agreed to the Subsidiary Alliance, accepted the British as the supreme power, surrendered their foreign relations to the East India Company and agreed that they would not enter into any alliance with any other power and would not wage wars. Awadh accepted a British resident at their headquarters and agreed not to employ any European in their service without consulting the company. Agreed to maintain British troops at their own cost, and virtually lost their independence. The kingdom of Awadh, was the first to enter into an alliance like this through the Treaty of Allahabad in 1765, by which the company undertook to defend the frontiers of Awadh on the condition that the Nawab of Awadh would pay for the expenses of such defense. However, Awadh was annexed on the pretext of misrule in 1856. The other states which accepted the subsidiary alliance were the Nizam of Hyderabad, the ruler of Mysore, the Raja of Tanjore, the Scindia, and the Rajput states of Jodhpur, Jaipur, Macheri, Bundi, and the ruler of Bharatpur. C. By using the Doctrine of Lapse, Lord Dalhousie, the Governor-General of India, annexed many Indian states to the company using the Doctrine of Lapse. According to this doctrine, if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. That is, it would come under the company's territory in India. When the ruler of Jhansi died in 1853, leaving no natural heir, the widowed Rani was pensioned and their adopted son, Anand Rao, was not recognized as a lawful successor to the throne. The other prominent states which were annexed by applying this doctrine were Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, and Nagpur. The principle of lapse was also applied to take away the titles and pensions of the rulers of some states. Regal titles of the Nawabs of Carnatic and Tanjore were taken away. This caused discontent among the rulers as well as among the people in general. The rulers of Indian states believed that their states were annexed not by the application of Doctrine of Lapse, but by the lapse of all morals on the part of the British. D. On the pretext of alleged misrule. In 1856, Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh to the company's dominions on the pretext of alleged misrule. He declared that Awadh was being misgoverned and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. Lord Dalhousie justified the annexation of Awadh on the pretext of the good of the governed. On the contrary, the people of Awadh had to face more hardships. They had to pay higher land revenue and additional taxes on food, houses, and ferries. The dissolution of the Nawab of Awadh's army and administration threw thousands of nobles, officials, and soldiers out of jobs. The British confiscated the estates of the talukdars or zamindars. The dispossessed talukdars became the opponents of the British rule. The company's sepoys, of whom 75,000 were from Awadh, were the worst affected. These soldiers had helped the British to conquer the rest of India, but they resented the fact that their homelands had come under foreign rule. The annexation of Awadh also affected the soldiers' financial position. They had to pay higher taxes on the land their families held in Awadh. Enraged by the humiliating way in which the Nawab of Awadh was deposed, the people of Awadh joined the uprising that broke in 1857.